Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, January 20th meeting of the Moscow City Council. First thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's okay. Wonderful.
Sorry, we're all swimming for the seat handle. Okay, groovy. So we have a few items on the consent agenda, and the way the consent agenda works for a very full audience tonight and our avid audience at home, the items that have been placed on the consent agenda have been reviewed by either the Public Works Committee or the Administrative Committee, both of which are made up of 3 of each council member. And so they've been vetted. Those meetings are recorded and you can find them on our city YouTube page if you'd like to watch the full discussion. Evan asked, and we can give it a go tonight for us to, and I'm happy to do it. So the items on the consent agenda, I will just read them by title so that our avid folks in the audience know what is on the consent agenda, and also the print copies, if you're interested in following along, are in the pocket in the hallway. So we've got item 1A, which is approval of Moscow City Council January 5th minutes from 2026 with a friendly amendment. It says 2025. I think we want to go 2026. 1B is approval of payment claims. 1C is disbursement report from September of 2025. 1D is disbursement report from December of 2025. 1E is first quarter financial report, October 1 to December 31 of 2025 for fiscal year 26. And 1F is the Idaho Commission on the Arts grant application, the public programs in the arts. And so these were all heard last Monday at the Public Works meeting. And I would entertain a motion.
Ms. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve with the addition of the correct date.
Second.
I've got a motion from Sandra. Who wants it? Evan? Bryce?
Go for it, Evan.
Evan's got the second. All right. Let me take my cheat sheet. Sorry, procedural question. Lori, do you want us to go? Can we go voice vote, or do I need to go by name for consent agenda? Remind me. Preference. Roll call. Perfect. Okay. And I've got my randomizer sheet right here. Sandra.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Evan.
Yay.
Bryce.
Aye.
Sage.
Aye.
And Drew.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Thank you much. So we have the mayoral appointments, and I've got one that I'm excited about in particular. And then we will also later in the agenda hear from Drew for the council liaison assignments. But first up, we have an Nope. I'm sorry. The appointment is the next item.
Yeah.
Yikes, Batman. Outside of the one listed in item number 4, I don't have any other mayoral appointments for tonight. I do have mayoral appointments for tonight. I have Drew Davis. I'm reappointing Drew Davis. The whole Tuesday thing has really turned my brain to jello. For mayoral appointments, I am proposing that we have Drew serve on the Urban Renewal Agency. It's a 2-year term, so it would be for calendar year 26 and 27, expiring in 28. Lori's keeping me honest. And Christy Click as the, thank you, yikes, Batman. And Christy Click as an ex officio member for the Transportation Commission. She is our executive director for Smart Transit. Those are the 2 mayoral appointments in front of you tonight.
Move that we approve.
Second.
Motion from Bryce, second from Drew. Roll call. Any further discussion? Groovy. Drew.
Aye.
Evan.
Yes.
Sage.
Aye.
Bryce.
Aye.
Sandra.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Whew.
Second was Sandra. Just to
Second was Sandra.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Yikes.
All good.
Okay, we're in the flow. Gorgeous. Public comment. So we have a 15 minutes set aside at every meeting for public comment. If anyone would like to come and remark on anything that is not pending before Planning and Zoning or the Board of Adjustment, as those are quasi-judicial bodies, you may come. I have a fancy timer. If anyone wants to give remarks up to 3 minutes worth of comments, we have 15 minutes set aside. Sure. John, you get to be my guinea pig for this new timer. All right. State your name and address And you've got 3 minutes.
I thought that was a Nintendo Switch at first.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Slagboom. I live at 924 East A Street. Good evening, Mayor Lewis, council members, and fellow citizens. This time I have a written public statement. So I'm here tonight to speak about the proposed replacement of the East City Park stage, big surprise to nobody, a community asset with deep roots in our shared history. The original stage was built largely by volunteers with generous donations of materials and labor and lasted well over 40 years. In 2010, 16 years ago, after an arson fire damaged it, it was repaired by volunteers. Also in 2010, Design West was engaged for conceptual design, and public input was sought when the estimated budget was far lower, with funding expected mostly from grants and donations. Only 95 responses were received at that time. 16 years later, the proposed budget, the project budget ballooned to $885,000 with no successful grants or donations secured since unsuccessful attempts were made in 2011. Public input has remained extremely limited. The March 6th open house of 2025 drew just 14 written responses, hardly a broad or robust survey. Yet, Design West has presented this as showing, quote unquote, from their PowerPoint presentation, overwhelming and unanimous community support for the current design. This claim comes from the firm itself, the design builder, not from comprehensive, on-the-record community surveys. Large numbers of community members are worried about the dramatic cost increase and proposed appearance of the new stage. I have records showing that former council members and former Arts Commission members have raised serious concerns in writing about the lack of meaningful public discussion on key choices like location, design, and orientation. And Mayor Lewis, as a former city council member, you have gone on record as describing it as a soulless design, a sentiment that, honestly, many of us share. I respectfully ask the city council to reopen genuine discussions on next steps and options for the stage, and ensure broader, transparent input before moving forward. Our citizens deserve thoughtful decisions that keep our public parks beautiful and our budget frugal. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, John. I am going to respond in this case. So to clarify, it's been in the budget for a handful of years because it's a capital improvement project. That is the purpose of the general funds. That's the purpose of our investments. I just pulled up a list. I see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, at least 20 meetings and engagements. I also want to clarify the bathroom location citing was cited there with the intention of it eventually having a stage attached to it. So the bathroom location and utilities and all of that work was planned when we only had money to do the bathroom at the time. It was incorporated into that plan. So there's been public engagement. I also want to clarify, I stand by the soulless design. It was a 30% thing. I will also say, as I have learned from Drew, as I appreciate his words, the job of council when there is a disagreement on a vote, or if there's a split vote, or the mayor tie breaks on a vote, or if it's any sort of dissent, the task before council is to then make sure we're all pulling in the same direction and honor the decision of the governing body. And the governing body's decision was to move forward with that project. So happy to answer in more detail. I know I have several emails that I'm behind on. I apologize, everybody. But just would like to course correct very publicly some common misconceptions. Any other public comment before we move on in the agenda? Excellent. Can you see this okay? It's more for you guys than it is for us. I also hope it's not a really angry beep when it goes off, but.
It's okay, I won't use.
Okay, name and your address, please.
Jonathan Honish, 520 Empire Lane, Trailer 6, Moscow, Idaho. I would just like to add my agreement with what John said.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Okay, any other takers? Groovy. Item number 3 is closed. Item number 4 on the regular agenda is the appointment of Nicole Baird Spencer as Community Development Director, Deputy City Administrator, and I'll have Bill do the intro.
Thank you, Your Honor and Councilors. As you're aware, on December 5th of last year, 2025, Cody Riddle, who has served as our Community Development Director and Deputy City Administrator since late 2021, retired from his position with the City of Moscow. Following that, the city conducted a nationwide search. We received 21 applications for the position, which were narrowed down to what we felt were 3 very highly qualified candidates. The 3 candidates participated in a fairly intensive 2-day interview process that included both interview panel, a staff from the departments that this position oversees, and community and elected officials, and then one-on-one interviews with the prior mayor and now the current sitting mayor. Mayor Lewis has determined that Nicole Baird Spencer is the best qualified candidate for the position with over 25 years of community planning, project administration, capital planning experience. Nicole has a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in city and regional planning from The Ohio State University. She has spent the last 22 years with the city of Eagle, including positions of Planner 3, Long Range Planning, and Director of Long Range Planning and Projects, where she's been responsible for directing long-term land use planning for the community, special project coordination, and development of the City of Eagle's capital improvement plan. Nicole has also been a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners since 2004 and has served as an instructor for the Idaho Department of Commerce's Community Development, Northwest Community Development Institute. Nicole was the 2023 Community Planning Association Southwest Idaho Leadership in Motion Award recipient and received the Idaho Transportation Department's Gold Award for project coordination that same year. We're pleased that Nicole will be joining the City of Moscow family, and if confirmed this evening, she will begin her duties with the City of Moscow on February 16th. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have or turn it back over to the mayor.
Any questions?
Can I just say something?
Of course.
I thought we had 3 fantastic candidates. I think it says a lot about our community. Moscow and North Idaho, we may not be on the map of, destination cities to work for, but we had 3 fantastic candidates, and that I think says a lot about the staff that we have at Moscow as well as our community that we can get those. And I'm very excited for Nicole to start as somebody who works with community development quite a bit. That I'm really excited for it. So.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I'm very excited to have someone with the list of experience before you all for confirmation tonight. Our comprehensive plan is due for an update. Our last update was in-depth update was 2019. So I'm really, really excited to have someone who has experience doing that and who has kids who are vandals. So I appreciate when people already know and love Moscow. So I was very excited to hear Nicole accepted the offer pending an action tonight. So any other thoughts, comments, we can I would entertain a motion, and then if Nicole wants to come say hi before or after, you're welcome to. But
I move to approve the appointment of Nicole Spencer.
motion from Sage,
Second.
second from Sandra. High-tech randomizer. Bryce,
Aye.
Sage,
Aye.
Sandra,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Evan.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. Nicole, you want to come say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us what you're the place you're most excited to eat in Moscow. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. There may
Probably
be,
the Kibbe Dome.
yeah, actually Kibbe Dome concessions, nothing like it. You don't have to answer
Yeah,
that.
she's
I was going to try and give you an icebreaker.
Well, first off, thank you for appointing me. I'm so excited to be up here in Moscow and work with you guys. I really am waiting to get my feet on the ground. I've spent the weekend looking for a place to live so we can land and start moving our transitioning up here. I just thank you to you. Thank you to my husband who is willing to uproot himself and come to Moscow with me. We are both small town raised and very excited to become members of the Moscow community, not just the city staff, but actually be members of your community. So Mayor did say I do have a Vandal as a child, one of my 4. Sorry, I also have a Boise State Bronco and a
Public
University
education.
University of
all for
Alaska
higher ed.
Nanook. So we are working through that, but I am a Bronco by heart. Sorry, guys.
Work on
First time.
But I'm really excited to be here, and I'm excited to work with all of you and get to know you and our staff as well. I mean, I have to say I did a deep dive when I started looking at this position, and I will say no stone was left unturned, and no point did I hear Moscow's got issues. I have heard your staff is great. Your staff is ready to work. they're great to work with. And I think that just says volumes about this community, the leadership, and where you're going. So I answer any questions you have for me, but at this point in time, I'll see you in a couple weeks, and I'm excited to be up here.
Welcome.
Love it.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Nicole.
you.
Safe travels.
Yeah. Okay, item number 5, the 2026 council liaison assignments. Drew, Mr. Council President, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. As the agenda states, so on January 12th of this year, we had a workshop where we basically discussed all the assignments that we'd be doing for the different liaisons for the different commissions. Proud to report that it was a great meeting. We often invite all those to workshop. It is open to the public, not for comment. Unfortunately, we didn't have anyone there, but we look forward to having more people there at other workshops that we'll be hosting throughout the year. But it was a great discussion where we formalized and approved where those council liaison assignments, where we be working. Very important work that we do within our city. And for more information, you can, I'm not going to go through and read all of those, but it is, we do have our draft with including the packet, which will be finalized after tonight's meeting, after we approve that. But I'm eager, and like I speak, I think for all the council members are eager to get to work, to work amongst the folks that are also volunteering their time to make our city a better place. Just on a side note, this year, we decided to do that after the elected officials were sworn in. In the past, we did it in a workshop before. With for other reasons, we were making things a little bit more consistent when people are sworn in. And so not a big change to our culture, but it was a change to how we are doing process and approvals. And so happy that we're doing that, and looking forward to for everyone supporting those. And so that is all I have to say. So.
I move that we approve the 2026 council liaison assignments.
Motion from Bryce.
Second.
Good.
Second.
Sandra beat me to it.
Sandra did beat you to it. I'm giving it to Sandra. Okay. Any further discussion before we approve the slate for 2026 and we will shuffle the deck again for 2027. Okay. Scott.
Aye.
Bryce.
Aye.
Evan.
Aye.
Sandra.
Aye.
Sage.
Aye.
Drew.
Aye.
Gorgeous. Thank you all. Thank you all for liaising. That's one of the most fun parts of the job, I think. Groovy. Item number 6, the 2026 Transportation Alternatives Program grant application with Elisa, and I see Scott in the wings as well. Welcome, Elisa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Since our next 3 agenda items talk about the TAP program, I'm going to do a broad overview of that and then hand it off for our engineers to talk to you about the projects. Transportation Alternatives Program previously came to us in other names with a few modifications. That originally back in 2007 started out as a Safe Routes to School, and it was really more focused on sidewalks and accessibility around the schools, and we took advantage of that for many years. I think we had 7 years of funding under that program. And under that program, they also did the education that U of I has held that program with the Safe Routes to School coordinator since 2007. And they've done a good job of working with the schools and promoting Safe Routes to School and all the, bike to school, ride to school, walk to school. And so that's been a very good program for us. After the Safe Routes to School, we then transitioned to Community Choices for a couple of years. And a lot of you are familiar with the improvements that were made near the Moscow Middle School, the sidewalk along the parking lot, and the improvements on D Street. After that, it transitioned to the Transportation Alternatives Program, which is before us today. And we've had several projects, the underpass over on Highway 8 and Steiner, a project you'll hear about tonight, which is an underpass that was proposed under Highway 95. And then we currently have 2 TAP awards on Mountain View that will be constructed this next summer. So I'll just kind of give you, the TAP program is really for non-motorized transportation. for bicycle and pedestrians. So it can be paths or sidewalks adjacent to the roadway, connecting sidewalks and paths from one point to another, curb ramps, horizontal and vertical barriers removal, pedestrian crossings across existing roads, signage and signalization, and reconstructing any existing non-compliant sidewalks or pathways and pedestrian bridges or underpasses. So this program has been very beneficial for Moscow, and I'm going to hand it off now to Luke, and he's going to step up and do the first two, and then Scott will be back for the third project. Thank you.
Good evening. So the first one is Mountain View Road, south of White Avenue. So this screen left is State Highway 8 or Troy Road. And it's the south end is, oh sweet, it works tonight. So right here is Troy Road, and then this is looking north. So we're planning on putting in a multi-use path on the east side of Mountain View, complete with a pedestrian ramps at the Mountain View Road intersection. Part of this includes a wall to minimize impacts to the neighboring property. Another thing we're doing as part of this is shoulder notching, which just means widening the shoulder a little bit to be able to fit our full arterial section on Mountain View, which would include bike lanes in both directions. And this just is a continuation of that with White Ave on the top middle of your screen. And then it progresses north to the bridge right there. And then on the bottom viewport, this is what Elisa discussed. That is the TAP North-South Mountain View project that we're tying into. So the idea is to have a multi-use path from State Highway 8 all the way up north. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Folks.
I'll make a comment, Madam Mayor. I think Mountain View is a street that is used by many vehicles, by people walking. I ride my bike frequently down this, and connecting Mountain View and making it safe for multiple modes of transportation. I think, and it's great that we have a TAP grant to go after it, and looking forward to tying these all together. And that we're going to make our community a little bit safer. That's all my comments for this particular one.
And Luke, because this item also has any other questions on White Ave, because this action item also includes the pedestrian for 6th to 5th Street, 5th District Street. Evan, go for it.
Yeah, I want to just remind us of the budget year and the construction year of this.
So this would be slated. So we'd apply for the grant. Design would be this next calendar year with construction in the 28.
Yeah, this program is either 28, 29, or 30. So you actually select as you're applying for it. And even after you select, it's not fully nailed down. You can always choose to go later if you start early. But this is intended for one of those 3 years.
And so just to clarify, to make sure we are all on the same sheet of paper, this is what is before us is the grant application. We would then see it again, assuming we get notified. But this would be giving staff permission to go after the TAP money. And then if we were selected, we would then receive the opportunity to hear the update, get a better feel for what the timeline could be when it would slate into our existing roadmap. And then council would be able to accept the grant monies. So just to clarify, this is the very first step in several steps.
A long road.
And that's soon to be longer. Yes,
Okay.
Scott, go for it.
Highway 8, I know there's talk with ITD and what they want to do there. Is there a time frame on whatever they ever decide on that?
Currently, yes, there is. We've already been in conversations with ITD about it. They're planning on putting a signal at that intersection, and it's planned to go in 2028.
Madam Mayor,
We stole Luke from ITD. I'm very proud of that. Yes.
if I may, the first question I have too is probably more properly to Elisa. Are we competing with ourselves for these two grants
Good
from the
question.
same source?
No, Sixth Street is our priority project number 2. Mountain View is our priority project number 1. And they, in the guidance that was attached to your CCSR, they say you can submit 2 projects, and they've always encouraged us to do that. There's always competition. But what happens is if someone doesn't use the money and you had an application submitted or projects fall out or they have additional money, then you can move up the process. And so say we submit project number 2, we hear that we are awarded on number 1, they might call us next year and say, oh, we're going to move you up the list. And so there's a lot of factors that go into it, but we do submit them as priority.
And then I have a second question. It probably goes to Bill. The match on the Mountain View project is $250,000, so about a third of the projected cost. Do we have a revenue stream identified for that, or is the money in the capital project fund already?
It's in the capital project fund already. So the full improvement of the roadway has been forecast a little bit more distant than the anticipated construction schedule here. Part of the large expense was the pathway and the wall construction. So if we can get that portion covered by the grant, we could probably accelerate the remainder of that improvement. But this has been programmed, identified in our CIP. We do have funding that we can cover the match.
Thank you.
Great questions, Evan. Any other questions before we hear the second part of agenda item 6? Okay, Groovy, go for it, Luke.
Awesome. The next one that we identified is the 6th Street pathway. So this is 5th Street, 6th Street. Clicker is not working. So right now we're planning, there's a 5-foot existing sidewalk through there. We're planning on expanding that path to 10 feet through an existing easement. And then kind of beefing up that mid-block crossing right there. Shortening the crossing distance for pedestrians, as well as putting in an RRFB, which is rectangular rapid flashing beacon, and then continuing that sidewalk towards Triangle Park and getting all the way to 7th Street. And then this is just some existing conditions and proposed what it's going to look like in the future.
Any questions on that before we hear the full formal staff recommendation?
Just a comment that I've used that path myself. I've walked it myself, walked my dog through there, and appreciate knowing that it's going to be widened and improved. It feels narrow going through there, and certainly if you're walking by other pedestrians, just feels uncomfortably narrow. So appreciate that this project's on the slate.
I think another point to bring out that, again, this came to us last week on our Public Works and Finance Committee where we discussed this. But another important thing I think, Luke, that you've talked about and others have talked about through this process is this corridor is really used for children and for people getting children to schools and across the community, and like people also walk their dog on it a lot. Like it's used for safety, and so making it more, thinking about a 5-foot sidewalk, having that traffic flow through there, it's can be inefficient at times, especially when you're going to school and coming home from school. And so things to make children's life easier, I think, is very important, especially safety. And so that's why I'm in favor of this. So.
Evan?
Yeah, and I'll just piggyback on that. That putting in that improved pedestrian cross there at 6th Street is crucial. At the very time there's the most traffic, there's also the most pedestrian traffic connecting to those schools. So having that walkway, such as that is at the middle school and on 3rd Street across Mountain View, I think that's an overdue asset to our community.
And the one thing I was going to add, we have seen more rapid beacon flashing,
Rectangular rapid flashing.
flashy lighty button, pushy buttons for the pedestrians.
Very creative name.
Right. And what is always fascinating is to understand that it can be misleading for pedestrians to assume that if you press the button, the light goes off, you're immediately safe, and to disregard your surroundings and to look both ways twice. And so I always appreciate now understanding that when we see a rapid blinky light at a crosswalk, it's done with intention, it's done in line with existing guidance, and to not instill a false sense of hope for our pedestrians. And I think that is a great location for it. So
I have to throw in some, all you former Lena Whitmore students, half the council here, of certainly wouldn't have any problems with identifying the proper use of a crosswalk.
yes, you're not wrong. You're not
Here,
wrong.
I just wanted to
Sure.
give you a little more history, and I think it will connect it here. So where we had Safe Routes to School grants on Cleveland, all the way from the middle school,
Yeah.
clear down to where this is going to meet the project. So it's a continuation of prior work that we've been doing.
Yeah.
So that whole area is part of that corridor that we've been building on.
I love that. I love that. And Safe Routes to School is a very cool program. And y'all will get an invitation in October for Walk to School Day. to Participate.
Walking to work, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion if anyone feels moved.
So moved.
Nah, you got to give me the whole one. You got to give me the Sage. I'll give it to you if you want to read the blurb on page 3.
Yeah.
And then
I
and
move
then
to authorize city staff.
Stop. Don't do the part that says take other action because I always read all the way through, and so don't unless you want to take other action.
Thank you.
It's either or. So, okay, pro tip. All right, Sage, all you.
I move to authorize city staff to submit 2 2026 Transportation Alternatives Program grant applications for $500,000 with total project cost not to exceed $750,000 for the Mountain View Road Improvement Project and $500,000 for the 6th Street Pedestrian Improvement Project.
Second.
Bryce gets the second. Any further discussion before we use my randomizer? Excellent. Sage.
Aye.
Sandra.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Bryce.
Aye.
Drew.
Aye.
Evan.
Aye.
Beautiful. Thank you. And we have one more TAP update, also with Elisa and with Scott. Welcome. We've got Transportation Alternatives Program, or TAP, Highway 95 Underpass Project Modification.
Yeah, and I'll go through the brief history on this one. This one has been in design for a while, so this is one that's currently underway. So to kind of put in perspective of where we're at here. So we got US 95 here, Highway 8 here. The current scope of it was to do an underpass underneath 95 here, just south of Highway 8, very similar to the one that we had done back in 2017 over on Highway 8 in Steiner. A little on the background here, 2018, there was a feasibility study done on this, just right around the same time they were wrapping up the last pedestrian underpass. And at the time, everything from the design hydrology and everything was kind of panning out to show that it made sense to apply for another one. The original scope was basically the same thing, do an underpass there at that crossing, be approximately 710 feet of a 10-foot wide pathway, pretty similar. But this one also includes the removal of the old Highway 95 bridge. The original funding, we applied for it back in 2020. At the time, the total estimated construction project, or total estimated project, including design, construction, everything, was a little over $1 million, with the federal share covering $994,000, and then the city's match being $78,000, of which of the match, half of that was being covered by the Moscow Urban Renewal Agency. At the time, the design was planned for 22 with construction in 23. During the process, there had been several delays that we'd come upon, some state level, some more along the lines of hydrology and environmental related stuff that we've been trying to work through for the past couple of years. This last fall, last May, we got an updated construction estimate since original 2020 estimate. The most current one was around 1.7 million. And with that, the Moscow Urban Renewal Agency was going to increase their contribution to it to 300,000, would have required the city to potentially have to match to increase another 482,000. But we also ran into some issues that we were checking into this last fall. So over the last 5 years, the multiple floods that we've had has led to a major increase of silt and sediment building up in that area. The project resurveyed this last fall to update the hydraulic model to check it again. Had found that there was an additional about 2 feet of sediment that had accumulated in there. The minimum clearances to get a pathway was no longer feasible, the amount that would have to be removed. And not only that, the amount that have to be removed downstream would have to almost go from this spot to College Street of having to clean out the channel. And not only that, anytime there would be other major floods has the potential of bringing more sediment in again. So here's just a quick picture of what it looked like when we were looking at it this last fall in comparison to when they had first done it back in 2019. Now it was about 6.5 feet left from bottom of the bridge down to where the sediment had built up. And then just get a rough idea. This is a cross section of what the path would look like, very similar to the existing underpass. This being the bridge abutment underneath the bridge, this being the top of the pathway. At the time when it was originally done, the sediment or the creek bottom was further down here, so we weren't going to have to dig a whole lot out. This green line is representing what has come in since then, which is fairly significant through this area and would require perpetual maintenance, which we don't necessarily have the environmental permitting for now, but is something that we're working on throughout the stream. So with that, the original underpass scope was deemed infeasible under the current conditions. Again, it's going to require extensive permitting and perpetual maintenance agreement with various state and federal agencies. So we have been talking again with various groups on what we can do that's within the project boundaries that meets the federal aid requirements, which it does have to stay within the general area and of the same type of general scope, being the type of grant that it is. There was discussion with FHWA that the state had to see if they could approve switching from doing something more above ground as opposed to doing the underpass in the area. And what we have looked at so far has been the potential for doing the sidewalk along US 95 and State Highway 8. I'll show you here in an image. So in the red on this was the original scope right here of where the underpass would be going underneath. So the pathway system currently comes here and goes south on US 95 and then crosses here at Sweet Avenue and continues on the trail this way. This underpass would have gone through here under 95, then back up again and connected back. The revised scope is more what's here in the green. So we're looking at enhancing the crossing down here at Sweet, seeing what we can do to make some additional connections to the pathway down here towards the welcome sign, and then completing all the sidewalk improvements all along US 95, adding a pedestrian crossing here at the west side of the intersection, and continuing the sidewalk connection all the way back towards like Crate Seed through the parking lot that Gribman has for where everybody's parking there across the street.
Scott, can I jump in just really quick? Because I don't notice it. The bridge, the Highway 95 bridge, in terms of removal that we're talking about, is one that is not currently used, and it's that gray. And I don't notice it. I have heard from folks who do notice it, but it's not in service. It's not. We're not asking ITD to let us tear up a Highway 95 bridge that's already in service. So just to clarify.
Yes, absolutely.
It is
Yes,
now a
that is
service
the
bridge.
existing bridge, which honestly too, that bridge is something that they've wanted to remove. It is something that environmentally they've wanted to be able to get out of the creek channel. It's going to make some improvements in there, probably help with being able to get flooding through there, be able to get some of the riparian back in. And seems like we've frozen up here. So with that, I mean, it's a focus now on above ground pedestrian improvements. We've talked with ITD about the potential of putting in that west crossing at the intersection. They do have the signal project they're working on that's coming in 28. This is something that they would consider adding to their process as well. And one of the big other things too is this would fit back in with the original budget, so it wouldn't require that additional $480,000 they would have to throw for it. So the recommendation is to be able to modify the scope of the project and complete the design utilizing the existing funds that we currently have with the project.
And before we go to discussion, Scott, I just want to take me back one more slide, I think.
Further back.
Yeah, one more back. So, nope, forward. We were going to do acronym soup real quick and just make sure everyone knows what you'll see these more often. They'll feel more familiar. IDWR is Idaho Department of Water Resources. ITD is Idaho Transportation Department. And I always get LHTAC, Local Highway Taxing. Nope, I'm not even going to try. Scott, will you remind me what LTAC stands for?
I believe it's Local Highway Transportation Assistance Council.
Local Highway Technical Assistance Council.
We just always refer to it as LTAC.
which is housed under ITD, right?
Yes.
So they are focused on working with local municipalities and other governing authorities to do non-ITD projects, to administer grant money and things like this. And so they are, I consider them good partners.
Yes.
In this case, this project has moved at the speed of government for a number of things. Pandemic also doesn't help. And then take me all the way back to the very first overview map, just the nature of where the creek is currently, right? Like the bend in the creek does not, I'm wondering if in a weird way, the timeline of this is going to leave us with a better product than had we tried to go forward with an underpass, knowing what we've seen in terms of silt changing. And the last thing I'll say, because apparently I brought my soapbox with me, thank you so much for identifying this project as something that was becoming out of scope in terms of cost and finding a way to make it work, because it sounds like we made a plan and it was no longer meeting our expectations. So thank you for finding a way to still make this work with all these agencies. Questions, comments, discussion?
I'll give a comment
Bryce.
here. Yeah, you can keep it on this slide too, because I think that does a nice job of kind of showcasing what I'm getting at. Like, we all know this intersection, we all know the traffic that comes through there, but we also all know the varying levels of non-car traffic that goes through there. So I think that finding hopefully a workable solution moving forward for all of those that are biking, walking, scooting, whatever the case may be, because this is one of the busiest intersections through town where people, they see a green light, might be flying down it, right? And so just kind of like working with the various partners at play, I think is something that feels kind of inspiring with regards to revisiting and reshaping this project. So I'm excited about the work that you all have done and the reassessment that you've all done. And I'm excited what you brought forth, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this project develops.
Question I have. So there's
Sorry, I couldn't see
mention
Sage. Go for it,
on
Sage. Sorry.
recommendation for this with collaboration with IDWR, the Idaho Department of Water Resources. Do they have longer term plans? Have they communicated about water redirection, flood mitigation, that sort of thing for this particular location?
For this particular location, I don't believe, I mean, we've had other discussions with others as well.
If I may, Your Honor, a few years ago, we did a flood mitigation or flood hazard mitigation study trying to look at what could be some improvements or other actions the city could take to reduce the risk of flooding to the community. Really focusing from the Troy Highway crossing upstream, because that's where we have the largest potential risk of property damage. Generally, once you get past the Troy Highway, we don't see much property damage downstream from there. And unfortunately, the study did not identify any silver bullets. It did identify the need for the city to become more proactive in channel maintenance for vegetation, obstruction, siltation, to ensure the channel could serve the function of the primary stormwater conveyance system that we have in the community. The IDWR is not going to initiate any projects or the Corps. The Corps did work with the university years ago on the channel reroute around the rec center. Their work largely picked up at College Street and went downstream from there. They dramatically enlarged the channel through that segment, and then they have the Paradise Street channel that also, so they kind of have a dual conveyance through there that did increase capacity. The university did a fair amount of repair and restoration work adjacent to Lot 60. So that's everything there kind of from the west there of Maine, from Maine to College. They did a fair amount of restoration work in there. So anything that we would do to try to address the situation would be pretty destructive to the restoration work the university did. And that's what we kind of struggled with of really to address this backwater condition siltation in there, we would have to do some substantial changes that we don't think we could politically work through in the time frame that these funds have to be committed. And so we were then stuck with, well, either find a use that is of similar nature, that providing somewhat similar pedestrian benefits, or walk away from the project, have to repay the design work that's already been completed, and then potentially sour our relationship with the granting agency because they don't like seeing money left on the table for projects that they've been trying to get through the door here now for a number of years. So right now, we think this is our best option. Doesn't preclude if something changes in the future, as if there are future projects, if the Corps or IDWR comes through with some channel work in the future, we'll have a lot of the prep work done for that underpass if it becomes feasible in the future. So we're not closing the door in perpetuity, but at this time, with the amount of time we have available to get these funds committed, this is really going to be our best course of action, we believe.
Thank you. Sorry to spring that on you. I know it was
Great question,
kind of a
though.
difficult question, but thank you.
Drew.
Evan
Oh, Evan, go for it.
Yeah, Bill just answered one of the questions that come from the community, and that is, does this close the door forever on an underpass there? And we know that if we undertook building an underpass on our own, it would be prohibitively expensive. And, you know, and I won't even ask you to address that. Just we'll put it on the record that it's going to take some help and some coordination down the road, and we'd still like to have one. Thanks to for your creativity and sticking with this and finding a way to improve it. And then in those improvements, I just want you to point out that how many of the 4 crossings there after this is completed will now have pedestrian walkways for?
We'll have 3 crossings, so north-south on the 2 sides, and then east and west on the north side there.
Right. So we're gaining one of them.
Which, and it is also a shorter distance. I mean, the traffic signal for the east side is, it's a 25-minute, oh, yikes, 25-second cycle, I think, which, by the way, we don't have jurisdiction over those light cycles. For our fun, avid learners in the audience, that's all ITD jurisdiction, but I'm excited to envision what the frontage improvement could mean and what that traffic flow in front of the seed with that shorter crossings on the west side could mean. Also, fun fact, ITD's camera does label that as malfunction junction. Their words, not ours. So if you want to freely call it malfunction junction, you can, but it's about to get so much better thanks to your hard work. Drew.
Yeah, thanks for the information presentation and for other comments by council. I invite anyone that's really curious about this topic. Again, we talked about this extensively in Public Works and Finance a week ago, a little bit more than a week ago. And just a couple of things, not that it needs cleared up, but I think it's worth mentioning that we brought up during that discussion. So this is just not a City of Moscow project. We're working with other governmental agencies. Part of that is we have, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but some of those agencies have committed resources and financial contribution to that. And so in the scenario, which I'm not in favor of, I'll just say that now, but if we were to go through this, we would be liable and committed on the hook for paying for those. And so the whole notion of this.
If we went it alone, you mean? Okay.
Alone. And so there's a lot of ways to look at this, right? We're in the, I wouldn't say business, but we have the goal to make our streets more safer and more reliable for pedestrians across the map. My own sentiment for this is, yes, I I said it earlier, I bike with my children all over this town, and we love the troll bridge. That's what we have deemed it over that we have it. And it's a very safe, it's efficient. The way that I look at this, and I've talked to several people after our meeting last week, and I share the sentiment that yes, I really wanted to see this happen. I get that. And I wanted a second troll bridge, like all those things. But in a way, if we look at this, one, we're not closing the door to future opportunities. Two, to me, this is as we are figuring out design delays, this has brought an opportunity that could have been a long-term problem that we would have to address over and over again. And without more government aid beyond this, it'd be difficult for the city. And so in a way, this, I think it's working out how it needs to. And with everything entailed to this, we're still making this a more safe than we left off. We're leaving it better. And so this is a win. I think if we're in the mindset that we are going to get that underpass, yes, I can see the frustration. But then to those that have made comments that this was just a city project, it's like, well, we'll read the pack and you'll understand that it's not just a city project. And so I invite those who said that to be more critical and to digest the information before we make comments that are inappropriate. And so, yeah, with that,
And-
On the end, but you guys, I see.
Well, sorry,
I see you.
I'm used to sitting down there and just being able to have the clear vantage point. It's going to take some undoing muscle memory before you feel so called to motion.
I have some questions.
Scott, go for it.
With the accumulation of silt that's coming up on the bridge, is there any concern of the functioning or safety of the bridge with that accumulation in the water? Well, are we 2 feet from it getting catastrophic, or is it an overflowing? And the other question is the functioning of the bridge an ITD responsibility or the city of Moscow?
The functionality and the scour analysis and everything associated with the bridge is ITDs. Now, the general maintenance, like certain aspects of it, is part of what we do, but from a capital project stance, it is ITD's bridge.
Scott,
The
do you mean the one
accumulation of sediment underneath.
Yeah,
The
so
one that's
like
coming out or
just
as is.
long-term maintenance and everything of that bridge, the
Oh.
functioning of the bridge, regardless of the project, is that something, since it's under ITD's road, that is ITD's responsibility if it needs to be cleaned out or there needs to be improvements to that bridge? Or is that on the city?
Underneath, so like the pathway system would be ours to maintain. So it would be our parks crew coming out to remove any sedimentation that comes in, similar to the other one where we go under Highway 8's bridge. But as for the bridge itself, so like redecking, concrete, any of that type of stuff, that is ITD's.
But if we don't do the underpass, is it still our responsibility for the maintenance through that channel?
I think as long as we don't put humans underneath. Bill, go for it.
Generally, the state's going to look to the city to do general channel maintenance for debris removal during flooding events. I'm not aware of ITD coming in and doing those kinds of activities. Traditionally, that would be performed by our streets crews. Structural elements of the bridge, structural maintenance is theirs, surface maintenance of the roadway is ours, and general channel cleaning and removal of woody debris and other things might happen during flooding events. Traditionally, that would be our staff that would do that work.
So if it continues to accumulate, and that will be something that will be on the city to rechannel or whatever we need to do to improve to clean that out. So, okay. I'm a big fan of the multimodal paths, especially in where we can add them and connecting, whatever we can connect and connecting downtown. So whatever we can do with the amount of people, because they're going to walk wherever they want. Like people are going to cross, whether it's safe or not. So the more opportunities we can to provide safe areas, I'm 100% for. So it seems like this is a good opportunity for that.
Man, I was really worried you were going to, coming from the Transportation Commission, you were going to say no to anything multimodal, Scott. Any further discussion? But I give Drew first dibs. Any questions, discussion? Drew, were you feeling moved?
Yeah, I move to authorize city staff to modify the scope of the project and complete the design, utilization, remaining funds in the current state and local
supposed to be agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. thank you. And period.
Yeah, say local agreement.
Local agreement.
Got a motion from Drew. Do I get a second?
Second.
Evan's got the second. High-tech randomizer coming in. Evan,
Aye.
Drew.
Aye.
Bryce.
Aye.
Scott. Sandra. Sage.
Aye.
I might have used that one already. Sorry, guys. Last point of clarification, Scott. This is different. This one is different than the previous action item because we already have the TAP monies. Are we trying to piggyback off of like 2028 ITD construction plans, or what does this mean for y'all going?
So from construction perspective, they would like us to have the plans ready for final review by the summer with the idea that it goes to bid this fall, construction next year.
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate it. We will look forward to hearing the updates.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. So reports. I'm going to borrow from Mayor Bedke's book and we're going to popcorn left and right. I'll start with Council President Drew. What reports would you like to share with us?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I will start. I attended the farmers market 2 weeks ago. That group is in full swing of talking about procedures and processes for upcoming markets. I might say it is the best market in the state and in the Pacific Northwest. And they're very excited.
Let's just go the whole country.
I mean,
Country.
trademark. We'll trademark it.
26 that's coming. And we're going to, I also, in tandem with this, they, in this gallery, in this building, they, the arts department making sure they had art talking about celebrating its 50th anniversary. We're celebrating that this year, and I think that's a really big deal. It's a gem to our community, and so there was an open house during Art Walk and during that time, and so I was able to attend that in tandem, and it's great to see work that's been the art that's been done over the years to support that, and the process is there, and so but yeah. I really appreciate the work, and they also are in full swing, and so they don't really have anything for council right now to discuss. And so I also attended the tree commission. I'll let Evan was there, but I'll let him discuss that. We talked about that, and thank you for your all of your guys' support, mayor support, for being on the Urban Renewal Agency Board. Again, been on there the last 2 years. I'm excited to continue the work that we've been doing and working towards that. And I know I'm missing. Oh, yes, here it is. Moscow Volunteer Fire Department. This is the first meeting that I've gone to. I will say when I walked through the door, the question was, "Where's Sandra?" And so Sandra, so I take that as a great compliment. She was there and engaged, and I gotta say, if you know me really well, I've said this before, I love an efficient meeting and where things get done, and they know how to have a meeting, and it was great, and they took care of business. And then it made me reflect. I have just a lot of gratitude for those that volunteer to keep our community safe. Being in that meeting, like I've been grateful for, one, the services that they provide, being a beneficiary to that, but then also getting to see kind of everyone together, talk about their training and everything that they're doing. It's next to none, and it just, again, it makes one of these places, that's one of the many things that makes this place, I think, magic. So call out to the folks that work so hard to that.
But don't call them through Whitcom. Like,
Yeah, don't call
yeah.
through Whitcomb.
Okay, Bryce, what do you got?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Appreciate it. In the last couple of weeks, last week, as many of us attended Public Works and Finance, sat in for Sandra, and then attended the council workshop afterwards. Last Wednesday, I had the first council leadership meeting that I've been a part of, and felt lucky to be in that space and getting to have conversations and kind of get some grasp on what might be coming down the pike. Last Thursday, had PBAC meeting, the Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee, and it was great to reconnect with some folks that work on the very important water issues on the Palouse. And earlier tonight, I actually had a PBAC subcommittee meeting this afternoon. So those conversations are vibrant and continuing. They are flowing
Hey.
Sorry, it was too
I'm
good to
gonna,
pass
I'm gonna
up.
turn this into like a bad pun
Yeah,
counter.
okay, yeah.
Set a record
Uh,
every day.
and then the two other things is I just want to wish everybody a happy MLK day from yesterday, a day late. Hopefully you all were able to celebrate in whatever way that may look like for you. And just remember the wise words that Dr. King uttered during his lifetime that still resonate continually today. And then also welcome back Vandals and Cougs for that matter, but welcome back Vandals for starting up the semester last week. And as I came in tonight, I told Sandra, she said, how was today? And I said, I've got one class that has about 60 students in it. I've got another class that has 50 students in it. So they are back and they are filling the seats. I don't know if they're listening, but they at least showed up today. So, and then I've got 100 more tomorrow. So we're back in the groove. So it's nice to have the town buzzing again and nice to have that vibrancy back. So, thank you.
Sandra.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple weeks for me. I was in Boise for a basic needs meeting that wasn't city related, but it sort of is because it's talking about poverty and it's talking about hunger and it's talking about how to feed people. So Bryce, if you were missing people, I can say they are back in swing because I've been averaging 40 students a day the last 3 days at the Vandal Food Pantry, which is good, but it's a chunk. And I will just say that all of our food areas are feeding a lot of people right now, and I'm grateful that folks are going to them, but it's also a concern that there's a lot of need out there. So that's mainly what I was at. Thanks, Bryce, for filling in for me. And this was the weirdest thing for me because I didn't get to pick any of my committees. Right? I just sort of sent this list and saying, really sorry. And it was, I sat there, I was at a pre-dinner meeting. I'm like, I wonder what's going on in my world right now. So I appreciate
texted you and said that we gave you all of them.
It's okay. No, that was not meant to be a commendation. It was just weird. It was just weird. So I haven't gone to anything specific this week. But I don't think, from what I've gathered, I don't think I've missed anything. So I appreciate the standing in and looking forward to getting started. And yeah, it's good to have the students back. It's been nice.
Sage, what do you got?
Thanks, Miss Mayor. I was appointed to the Human Rights Commission as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission to serve as council liaison. So I attended the P&Z Commission last week on the 14th. Dennis Wilson was reelected as chair, Rich Beebe as vice chair, Cole Mize as second vice chair. There was a discussion about Woodbury First Edition replat and major planned unit development, or PUD, amendment review. The short of all of that is there was an addition of 29 lots and some changes in parking to the Woodbury subdivision. There was also a presentation by Mike Ray on the existing duplex building codes that exist in Moscow and some proposed potential changes to those. So if you're interested in staying tuned on those, I would encourage you to tune into the P&Z meetings. They're twice a month, and they are on Moscow's YouTube channel, so you can tune right in from home. I sat in on my first Human Rights Commission meeting earlier today. As a reminder, the Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast is coming up this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. It'll be at the 1912 Center. They wanted to make sure that I highlighted that.
I think it's sold out.
It is sold out, yes, but you can
Scalp your ticket.
tune in on Zoom. The Zoom feed will start at 9:45 a.m.
You also get breakfast with the Zoom feed.
I don't think so.
Decorum, Scott. Come on.
Similarly, they reelected Aaron Agidius as their chair and Elizabeth Stevens as their vice chair. And they wanted me to mention that they're anticipating hosting some social justice forums within this fiscal year. So look out for those between now and September. They also wanted me to highlight that there are some vacancies. So there are two regular voting member vacancies on that commission. There are additionally two vacancies, one that can be served by a high school student and the other by a college student. And the college student seat is a voting member. So there's some vacancies to be filled there.
Is that 4 total?
4 to
And to clarify, so I want to say every commission has the opportunity for a high school seat. I can't remember if it's certainly for university, every commission. Oh no, I'm saying this is an absolute. Bill, can you remind me?
So most commissions have a slot dedicated for a high school student and a slot dedicated for a university
And
student.
the difference is it is a 1-year term to allow.
Both
for
of them are 1-year
students.
terms, non-voting 1-year terms.
So, and it's
Thank
been
you.
a while since
Yeah.
we've had, I think the Human Rights Commission is one that we tend to see more takers in. But if you know of folks, I would love to see their applications to appoint them because it's a great way to get engaged. So
Yeah.
great point, Sage.
Yeah, and otherwise, all I have to report on is that I'm really looking forward to sitting in on my first admin committee meeting. I believe that's next week. And looking forward to going to Boise for some Association of Idaho Cities sitting in Day at the Capitol education and training. So yeah, thank you.
I love it. Evan, what do you got for us?
Well, I'll start with Sustainable Environment Commission, which met about 2 hours ago, and I made part of it. They first order of business of the year was to elect officers, and Steve McGeehan will repeat as chair, and Al Poplawski will be vice chair. So a little bit of change there. There will be a vacancy in Sustainable Environment. Someone is needing to drop out, so we expect to see some good applications for that. They meet the third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. for those that want to participate or have a comment for them. In the most recent meeting here, we did hear something about water quality in Moscow, and I'll just pull up one important point is we have a new permit from DEQ. These are 1-year permits. We've pretty much been running on the same thing since 2001 or 2, I think. But there has been one change, which is good for us, is they're no longer asking us to mitigate for ammonia. So may not seem like a big deal, but the less we have to do, we monitor it, but we don't have to mitigate it for it anymore. So that's good for the next year. The other good news there is all 3 of the new pumps are in. I think they're paid for, so they have about a 20-year life, and so that expensive part of keeping the waste treatment plant running has been taken care of for the near future. Other things they have coming up are unknown to me because I had to leave the meeting to come to this one.
To be continued. I
Right.
love it.
I'm also serving on the Tree Commission. They had a meeting on the first Tuesday at 5 p.m. They will next meet February 3rd. So join them. The big discussion in the previous meeting was tree choices that would mesh well with the pollinator garden that is going in next to Guywick's Field there along the bike path for essentially on University of Idaho property. And so there was some discussion about what should go in there. In fact, they want to veto what the university group had chosen. They also, having the first meeting of the year, chose their officers, which did not change. Ellis Eifert would be chair, and Dave Rauch would be vice chair. Mary Jo Hamilton as secretary. So that stays the same. It has been. The third commission that I'm a member or a liaison to is Fair Housing. They meet on the first Thursday of every month. Their next meeting would be February 5th. They spent a lot of time at the last meeting developing their strategies for making sure that tenants and landlords understand fair housing principles, practices, and laws. And so they have a number of strategies they've used throughout the year. And they discuss how effective they think they're going to be and things that they might need to change or beef up. They really also would like the council to respond to their letter dealing with the establishment of a housing authority.
For what it's worth, it is in the queue to be discussed at our next council leadership meeting. So it will no longer go without a response.
Right. And so that's coming up soon. And they understand with the holiday and all that there was going to some slowdowns. The next thing is that they would like some direction for what to do next or what to do more. And I'm willing to step up and say, well, there's a lot of things they can do to help us in our search for solutions to impediments to affordable housing or achievable housing, workforce housing. And so we're going to have a meeting here in the next few days, and I'll throw that question back at them that really they can help us identify and maybe update, even if it's through research in the community, to the things that were identified as impediments or needs in 2016 and 2019 in plans that came before them. Their mission is the same, and their ability to gather information might require some budgetary help from us or things like that. But I would like them to come to us and say, here's what we can do to help you move that big boulder up that steep hill. So that, other than being on Public Works and Finance, which everything that was on that agenda was on tonight's agenda. So I'll leave it at that. Till next time.
Bill, what do you got?
Just one thing I wanted to clarify on the what used to be the NPDS, the National Pollutant Elimination Discharge System. It's now the Idaho Pollutant Discharge System. That is a permit that has a 5-year duration. So it'll go till 2031 will be the expiration date. We'll have to reapply in late 2030 for that renewal. But it's not something we have to do on an annual basis or 1-year permit. It has a 5-year duration. Just wanted to clarify that one point.
Okay. Yeah, I scribbled DEQ annual and I couldn't remember which was which, so that I'm going to scribble out.
They believe it's an annual thing, so it's good to have that clarification.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that DEQ and our efforts to reduce regulation in the state would result in us wanting to have annual permits if it made sense for us to do 5 years. So I'm glad to hear it's a 5-year one. Thank you for the clarification. Scott, I didn't forget you, but I was going to.
I didn't think you did.
Sure.
I don't care what the video shows.
Yeah. Instant replay. Scott, what do you have?
I am the liaison for the Arts Commission, which is really ironic because I am the least artistic person in my family on this council and probably in this room. I do appreciate it though, but there's a reason why I do a lot of things on a computer. They have a lot of RFPs or requests for proposals out. There's that are open right now, or they're in the process of just solidifying the wordage and putting them out. But so if you know artistic people, let them know that those things are available. There's the mural at the city shop. There is a piece that will be at the police station for Officer Newbill. And then there's also vinyl wraps throughout the town. There are various locations. So there's lots of opportunities for various styles from artists of, various skills and mediums. Thank you. Let's see, I'm stretching my artistic knowledge as we speak. So, and then Parks and Rec will be later this week. That'll also be a liaison. So that'll be an interesting one. I'll have more to report on that.
Love it. I'll keep mine very brief. So one more acronym for everybody: Association of Idaho Cities, AIC, which is also confusing because you've got the Idaho County Association, which is ICA, but we are AIC. So City of Moscow is a member. I'm one of our board members from the District 2, which is the same district as the ITD region. So up to Plummer, nope. Latah County down to Idaho County, we're ish. And so myself and Mayor Dan Johnson and Lewison are our two district folks. And so the board meets once a quarter. So I will be in Boise at their board meeting with ahead of their Day of the Capitol for education purposes. The other thing that they host every Friday, and it is open for anyone to join if you want to join. Mayor Bedke had warned me they would take about 3 hours, and he's not wrong. Sometimes they take a full 3 hours in the heat of session, but every Friday during legislative session, there is a group of folks who join in and listen to this call just to hear what sort of proposals are coming. There are 15 that are currently being routed. Most of them are will have negligible effect on the city of Moscow. I will do my best to flag the ones that will impact the city of Moscow, like ones about like waste tire disposal. 1 or 2 are from Nicole's old stomping grounds. Often there will be a number of transportation things that are directly pointed at Ada County Highway District, and it will only affect that kind of transportation mechanism, not the tools that we use. The session is still young. We will see what happens. Those are on Friday mornings. I'll try to make sure I send you all my notes. Smart Transit, I did ask to keep Smart Transit one more year. We've got a new executive director. We're focused on keeping the wheels on, like literally and figuratively. Their board cycle goes through April. So the seat I'm in expires in April, and would love for someone to shadow me. Anyone who wants to be passionate about local free public transportation, let me know. And then I'm meeting with the mayor of Pullman and Tony Bean to get the rundown on the Moscow Pullman Regional Airport. So lots of fun things. Anything from staff before? Oh, sure, Evan, yeah.
Well, you mentioned that we are going to respond in an official way to the concerns about.
Yeah, there's been a couple of emails that have questions, and I'm going to leave it vague because I want to make sure we get them the right answer. So if you are getting questions from citizens about emails that have gone unresponded, we can address that. I'm going to leave it vague on purpose.
And
Bill,
I
sure.
had one other thing, and I'd be remiss not to mention that the Housing Commission also elected their officers, and Aya Sumner was chosen as the chair. She wasn't there at the time. That might be part of it.
No.
But,
Is that allowed?
and then, no, she accepted the position, and Juan Albeatero will be the vice chair. That's a change, and the secretary is Nathan Tupper. So
Perfect.
they also elected new officers.
I love that. Thank
All right.
you. Okay, Bill, anything from staff?
Nothing from staff this evening.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I hear from Sandra. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.